Welcome to Unit 1. In this first module, we'll explore what purchasing really means within an organization, how it fits into the broader supply chain, and why purchasing and supply management have become such critical strategic functions in today's competitive world. Let's get started. By the end of this unit, you will be able to comprehend the volatile, fast-changing environment faced by supply chain managers. Understand the differences between purchasing and supply chain management. Understand the differences between supply chains and value chains, and identify the activities that are a part of supply chain management. The competitive landscape organizations face today is dramatically different from what it was even a decade ago. Companies now compete against world-class competitors from around the globe. Customers have become more sophisticated, more informed, and more demanding. They expect higher performance at a lower cost. And with social media, companies receive instantaneous, highly public feedback on product performance. Purchasers must operate in a world of constant connectivity, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, supported by cloud-based systems and real-time communication technologies. In addition to a more intense competitive landscape, technology is evolving at an unprecedented pace. Blockchain, artificial intelligence, automation, and robotics are transforming how supply chains operate. Faster product development cycles require greater design flexibility from suppliers. And probably the most important, products and services must simultaneously meet expectations for superior quality, dependable availability, and rapid delivery. Supply chain and purchasing professionals need to be technologically savvy and capable of working with innovative tools. Now, let's look at some of the challenges shaping today's supply environment. For years, outsourcing and offshoring dominated sourcing strategies. But since around 2015, those trends have been reversing. Rising wages in traditional offshoring hotspots, disruptions from the COVID-19 pandemic, and increasing political pressure for domestic-first strategies in the US and Europe have all contributed. Companies have also lost confidence in long, complex global supply chains. The result? A business world marked by volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity, what we now commonly refer to as VUCA. Many interconnected global events contribute to the VUCA environment in supply management. These include labor strikes, material shortages, counterfeit goods, industrial policy shifts, and geopolitical conflicts. Technology advancements, natural disasters, and even attacks on commercial systems add further instability. Rising nationalism and inflation also heighten uncertainty. Purchasing professionals must constantly evaluate how each of these factors might disrupt the supply base. To compete effectively, companies must actively manage both their upstream suppliers and downstream customers. Modern supply chains benefit from low-cost access to information and transparent data sharing, but they also face unprecedented competitive pressure. Customers expect flawless service, faster response times, and higher customization. Organizations must identify and mitigate risks within their supply chains. Increasingly, competition occurs between supply chains, not individual companies. With many organizations investing heavily in purchasing, including investing in C-suite designated titles, let's discuss reasons for its importance. Purchasing plays a strategic role in helping organizations increase value and reduce costs. In many manufacturing organizations, 50 to 70% of revenue goes toward purchased goods and services. That means the purchasing function represents a major opportunity for cost reduction. Every dollar saved in purchasing directly increases profit. Strong supplier performance and expertise can significantly differentiate a company's products and services. The traditional purchasing mindset focused heavily on bargaining for price reductions. Today, the emphasis has shifted toward partnerships and collaboration. By working closely with suppliers, organizations can uncover innovative ideas that create value. However, just like friendship and relationships, collaboration works only when both parties benefit. Buyers and suppliers both need adequate returns on their investments in the partnership. High-quality suppliers help ensure a company's reputation remains strong. When suppliers fail, the consequences extend far beyond one defective part. Poor quality at any upstream point can damage the entire supply chain. As outsourcing increases, so does the need for better oversight. Supplier quality issues can cause recalls, brand damage, and long-term loss of customer trust. Purchasing also plays a key role in reducing time to market. Through early supplier involvement, companies can dramatically improve product designs and processes. Early collaboration has been shown to reduce costs by 10 to 20%, shorten time to market by 20 to 30%, and improve quality metrics by 15 to 25%. Suppliers often possess technical expertise that internal teams may lack. As organizations adopt strategies such as global sourcing, single sourcing, and lean operations, supplier risk becomes increasingly significant. Purchasing professionals must monitor risk exposure and develop business continuity plans. Risk management is no longer optional. It is fundamental to supply chain resilience. Purchasing professionals influence not only individual organizations, but also the global economy. Indicators such as the Purchasing Managers Index, commonly called the PMI, are widely reported in major financial publications. Because purchasers are often the first to notice changes in market demand or supply conditions, their collective activity provides early economic signals. Investors and policymakers rely heavily on these indices. Executives increasingly recognize that effective supply management directly contributes to organizational competitiveness and profitability. As a result, supply management professionals are earning strong salaries and are in high demand. Certifications such as the Certified Professional in Supply Management, CPSM, or Certified Purchasing Professional, CPP, often lead to higher pay. Finding and retaining talented supply management personnel is now considered essential for long-term success. Okay, now let's switch gears and discuss the differences amongst purchasing versus supply chain management. There is often confusion between purchasing, procurement, supply management, and supply chain management. Are these terms interchangeable? Do supply chains and value chains mean the same thing? And what is the extended enterprise? In the next few slides, we'll clarify these distinctions. Let's start with purchasing, otherwise known as procurement. Purchasing, or procurement, focuses on identifying and selecting suppliers, negotiating and contracting, performing market research, tracking supplier performance, and developing purchasing systems. At its core, purchasing is about getting the right quality, in the right quantity, at the right time, for the right price, and from the right source. These foundational goals still guide the function today. Supply management expands beyond traditional purchasing. It incorporates supply-based management, long-term strategic orientation, cross-functional collaboration, and process-driven coordination. The goal is not simply to buy goods and services, but to strategically manage the entire network of relationships and flows that support organizational needs. Let's define some core concepts. A supply chain is a set of 3 or more organizations directly linked by flows of products, services, finances, and information. A supply chain orientation is the strategic recognition that managing these flows across the chain creates value. Supply chain management refers to the proactive coordination of these flows from raw materials to end users. Reverse supply chains play a major role in handling returns and defective products, especially during time-sensitive recalls. A value chain includes both primary and support activities that, when aligned properly, contribute to competitive advantage. Importantly, the supply chain is a subset of the broader value chain. This slide illustrates the extended value chain, stretching beyond the traditional firm boundaries to encompass suppliers, suppliers' suppliers, customers, and customers' customers. Modern supply chain management requires visibility and coordination across all of these interconnected relationships. This, of course, encompasses various activities under the supply chain umbrella of activities. Now that we understand the basics of supply management versus procurement as well as the extended value chain, let's discuss the various activities under the supply chain umbrella. Under the supply chain umbrella, many activities fall within the broader supply chain management function. These include order processing, linking the producer to the customer, and demand and supply planning, which ensures the organization produces the right quantities at the right time. Inbound transportation ensures goods move efficiently from suppliers to the organization. Quality control focuses on defect prevention rather than detection. Receiving, materials handling, and storage functions control the physical flow and safeguarding of inventory. Together, these components form the operational backbone of supply chain execution. Additionally, we have materials or inventory control, where we determine order quantity and manage the inventory levels of incoming and finished goods. Production planning, scheduling, and control determines production schedules and controls items that are currently in process. Shipping, warehousing, and distributions prepares finished products for transportation and arranges transportation with a carrier. Outbound transportation enables the flow of a product from producers to final consumers, and then we also take into account how we serve our customers prior to, during, and following transactions. Now, let's discuss the different supply chain management pillars. To operate effectively, organizations depend on 4 key pillars of supply chain management: capable human resources, proper organizational design, real-time collaborative technology, and the right measurement systems. Each plays a crucial role in creating supply chain excellence. We will now discuss these in more detail. Human resources are vital in supply chain management. Organizations must recruit and retain employees who possess expertise in supplier relationship management, data analytics, total cost analysis, and collaborative technologies. Companies increasingly focus on developing internal talent, while also hiring from universities and other functional areas to meet their needs. Organizational design determines how communication flows, how authority is distributed, and how decisions are made. Many organizations are shifting towards center-led supply management models, which combine the advantages of centralized and decentralized structures. Cross-functional teams continue to be important tools for coordinating complex activities across departments. Today's supply chains rely heavily on collaborative technologies. Cloud-based data systems, mobile communication tools, and shared software platforms allow partners in the supply chain to access information in real time. These capabilities improve planning accuracy, execution speed, and visibility across the chain. We will discuss these in more detail throughout the duration of the course. Performance measurement is essential, but many organizations struggle with having too many metrics, disagreements about which metrics matter, or data that is outdated or incomplete. To improve performance, companies must understand what to measure, establish a consistent measurement process, and ensure access to accurate, timely data. We will also discuss these in more detail throughout the duration of the course. Let's recap. First, we explored how today's competitive environment has changed. Organizations now face intense global competition, increasingly sophisticated customers, and rapid feedback cycles driven by digital technologies. Supply chains must operate in an environment defined by volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity, meaning purchasing professionals must be more agile and informed than ever before. Second, we examined the major challenges shaping the supply environment. These include disruptions from geopolitical tensions, labor shortages, inflation, material scarcity, and the long-term impacts of offshoring and the pandemic. Companies have begun to rethink global sourcing strategies, emphasizing resilience, shorter supply chains, and stronger oversight of suppliers. Third, we discussed the strategic importance of purchasing. Because a large percentage of organizational spending flows through purchased goods and services, purchasing directly influences profitability, innovation, quality, and time to market. Effective supplier relationships reduce risk, improve performance, and help build sustainable competitive advantage. And finally, we clarified key definitions. Purchasing focuses on supplier selection, contracting, and acquiring the right goods at the right time and price. Supply management expands this role through strategic coordination and supplier relationship development. Supply chain management encompasses the broader flow of goods, information, and finances across multiple organizations. And all of these exist within the larger value chain that creates competitive advantage.